Order. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day and the city in which we live. Guide us this evening as we make our decisions. In Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
This is the regular meeting of the Newnan City Council, July the 21st, 2020. You have the minutes from the meeting of June the 18th, 2020 before you. I'll entertain a motion. We adopt those minutes.
I'll make that motion.
Second. I have a motion and a second. We adopt the minutes as presented. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Like sign. Opposed, like sign. Thank you. Like to welcome Ms. Jenkins and Mr. Shell here this evening via Zoom. Good to see both of you. Okay, the next item on the agenda this afternoon or this evening are appointments to boards and commissions. Mr. Coweta, I believe you're first up with an appointment to the Newnan Youth Activities Committee.
All right, place that on the next agenda, please.
All right, thank you. Mr. Alexander, you're next with the Convention Center Authority.
Yes, I'd like to renominate Ms. Teresa Lovett.
Second.
Motion and second, we renominate Teresa Lovett to the Convention Center Authority. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Thank you. The next, Ms. Jenkins, Convention Center Authority.
I need that put on the next agenda.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Alexander, the next is also Cultural Arts Commission.
Yes, sir. I'd like to renominate Miss Maggie Hickman.
Second.
Motion and second, we renominate Ms. Maggie Hickman to the Cultural Arts Commission. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Mr. Jones, the next is also Cultural Arts Commission.
I'd like to renominate Betsy Burnett.
Second.
Motion is second. We renominate Betsy Burnett for the Cultural Arts Commission. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. The next, Mr. Cretco, is also Cultural Arts Commission.
Next agenda, please.
All right, thank you. And then the next, Mr. Shell, Cultural Arts Commission.
Yes, I'd like to renominate Mr. Bob McCoon.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to renominate Mr. Bob McCoon to the Cultural Arts Commission. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Thank you. On to reports from operations, the city manager. Mr. Phillips, do you have anything this evening?
I do not, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't have anything this evening. Under new business, this is an ordinance to amend Chapter 2, Administration, Article 6, Purchasing, Section 2.271 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Newnan per the Federal Aid Highway Program requirements. And this is just the last word there, means everything. This is a requirement that the city needs to do in order to maintain federal funding. So is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Motion is second to adopt the ordinance as presented. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is a consideration of resolutions for condemnation of property in sections A and B to continue the link construction. You have these resolutions before you. Are there any questions of what we've got here? And Mr. Phillips, tell me again how many there are here. Are there
Three.
Three. There are three.
Yes, three condemnations.
I think I want three separate motions, if you don't mind, to adopt those resolutions. The first one would be Section A, Newnan Loss, 110 Field Street. Do I have a motion on that?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. We adopt the resolution on the condemnation on Section A, Newnan Loss, 110 Field Street. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Okay, the next is Section B. This is ARC Properties located at 43 Roberts Road, Newnan, of course. And this is a resolution for condemnation of property for the link. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is second to adopt the resolution as presented. Any discussion?
I have one
All right.
question. If there's anybody here representing these properties, I wish they would let us know. I don't see anyone, but I just saw it.
If there is anyone here representing any of these property owners, please raise your hand. If you've got something to say, you certainly have the opportunity to be heard. We've gone through a lot of discussion with these property owners. That's the reason they're where we are tonight. It'd be unusual for them to show up and want to negotiate at the meeting. So, but if there is anyone here for this property? 43 Roberts Road? Okay. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. The next property is John Counts, 35 Mill Street Court, Newnan. Is Mr. Counts here? Would he like to say anything this evening? Okay, you have a resolution for condemnation of that property for link construction. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. We adopt the resolution as presented. Any discussion?
I have some quick discussion.
All right.
Was I know he's not here. I wish he would have been here to discuss this. And I have not had any communications with him. However, just taking his, going into his property like this, what the city negotiations, what was he necessarily held up on? What was his
Mr. Counts has opposition to the link in general, any utilization of government funds to build the link.
Okay. And just looking at the map, just to be clear, because it shows like the map, let me pull that one up. It showed it was on, it looks like it's the corner of his property and not necessarily into his property, correct? I just want to make sure that we're not encroaching.
Yes, and it's actually the location of the link in that location is actually following the general location of an existing sanitary sewer easement. And in this particular instance, there is an elevation change from the back of Mr. Counts' house to where the link would be located. So obviously, we take every effort not to put the link, right in the back of someone's door. And that would, considering this situation, that's not the case. There was a very early concept that the link was going to maintain its alignment along McIntosh Parkway, but when we decided to take it off of McIntosh Parkway, we moved it north of the creek. And when we moved it north of the creek, it located onto the sewer easement, and therefore in this location on Mr. Counts' property.
So it's just, really what we're doing is we're just creating an easement for the link. We're not taking his property, we're just creating an easement to use his property.
Is it?
Well, we're taking the title to that
Yes.
easement.
Okay,
But we're not taking the fee simple title to the property.
okay.
All right, and just for a matter of explanation, the two adjoining properties on Millwood Court, the Smith property, and I can't remember, Viper Investment, we've already closed those properties.
Okay,
And we have closed with the property owner to the east, which was part of the property, part of Chastain Park that was recently sold off.
okay.
So we acquired all of the right of way for the link, with the exception of this.
Okay, and just one other question, just to make sure that we are, so he doesn't have to look at it, nobody's gonna come up from the link. What are we doing for like landscaping or for, just as a barrier, if you will, so that, and I don't know if that was even one of his arguments, other than just the opposition to the link.
I don't understand what you're saying, Dustin.
Just, since we're going through his backyard.
We're taking it right away to use it. We're taking the right away to use it for the city, just like we do anybody else's. And what's the big deal?
It's just private property, that's all. No.
Now, what we've agreed to do, and we've offered to do with the council for two things is to, Ms. Smith, we will place a fence along her property and with a gate so that she can access it, so that you can't just walk right off of the link in her backyard. We offered to do that with the council also. And we offered them also to do some landscaping behind. If you look at the place, the code says the property
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I do have a motion and a second on the floor to adopt the resolution. Any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Thank you. The next is a public hearing. This is a request to demolish 204 Roscoe Road. I'm going to open a public hearing at this time and ask if there is anyone here that would like to come forward to speak to the issue of the demolition of 204 Roscoe Road. We'll come forward and state your name for the record, please.
Yes, sir. My name is Joe Jackson, and I am the applicant. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and council members, for the opportunity to come before you this afternoon. I will be brief. I represent the principal owners in this request, those being the estate of Myrtle Whitlock Jackson, my mother, the estate of Adele Whitlock Miller, my aunt, and Mrs. Elva Whitlock, also my aunt. The property has been owned by Whitlock family members since the early 1900s. It was once a thriving farming property. It has not been utilized as a farm in over 40 years, and the house is to be demolished has not been inhabited in over 20 years. Earlier this year, the property endured a severe storm. It caused 4 large oak trees to be blown into and crushing the primary dwelling in one of the garages. It caused severe structural damage to the roof, to the foundation, and to the interior. The damage to repair, to make livable, and to bring to current building codes is cost prohibitive. Our request is for the demolition of the primary structure and the garage destroyed by the storm. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you for being here, Ms. Jackson. This is a public hearing on this issue. The applicant has made their case. Is there anyone here in opposition to the demolition request at 204 Roscoe Road? This would be the opportunity to come forward and speak in opposition of the demolition of 204 Roscoe Road. Seeing no one come forward, I'm going to close the public hearing at this time and ask for a motion from the council.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the request for the demolition of the property at 204 Roscoe Road. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, like sign. Thank you. Motion carried. Thank you for being here tonight. Appreciate it. This next item is a public hearing. This is an application for alcohol beverage, Leaf and Bean, Newnan, Georgia, DBA Leaf and Bean, on premise, pouring sales of distilled spirits, malt beverages, and wine. This is for 22 West Court Square. This is a public hearing. I'll ask if anyone is here that would like to speak to this issue. You're here this evening. How are you, Sharon? You doing all right? Good to see you. Anyone else like to speak to this issue? Okay, I'm going to close the public hearing at this time. Is everything in order, Ms. Della? All right. I'll ask for a motion on the application.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second that we adopt the application as presented. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Thank you. Thank you for being here. The next item on the agenda is also a public hearing. This is an application for alcohol beverage license. This is for Dunk's Barbecue. This is for retail on-premise pouring sales of malt beverages and wine, 98 Jackson Street. The reason for this is a new business. This is a public hearing on this issue. Is there anyone here that would like to come forward and speak to the issue of alcohol license at 98 Jackson Street? Mr. Dunk, how are you? Good to see you, sir. Thank you. Glad you're here. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, I'll close the public hearing at this time and ask for a motion on the issue.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to adopt or approve the application as presented. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. The next is also a public hearing on an alcohol beverage license. El Cornell Tacos LLC for sales, on-premise retail sales of malt beverages and wine, 534 Bullsboard Drive. The reason for this is also a new business. Is there anyone here that would like to come forward to speak to the issue? Thank you for, are you the owner, manager? Thank you for being here this evening. We appreciate that. Does anyone else like to come forward to speak to this issue? I'm going to close the public hearing at this time and ask for a motion to adopt the application or approve the application as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Yeah. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Thank you. Okay, thank you all for being here this evening. The next is a request to approve the disposal of city surplus and or obsolete property. This is a resolution and a request before you. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Motion and a second. We grant the request as presented. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. This is a public hearing for the 2020 update on the capital improvements element, which includes the 2020 update on the short-term work program. Mr. Cole, how are you, sir?
Thank you, and good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members. Yes, I'm here to inform the public of the City of Newnan's completion and intent to adopt its update to the capital improvements element of the comprehensive plan. This includes the short-term work program. All local governments must hold one public hearing prior to the transmittal of their updates. Official transmittal to the Three Rivers Regional Commission and DCA is planned to be requested at the August 11th council meeting, after review and approval of the CIE update by the RC and DCA. The council will be asked to officially adopt the CIE update for 2020. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cole. This is a public hearing on this issue. If anyone would like to come forward to speak to the issue, close the public hearing at this time. That was for information only, so there's really no need for any action there. The request, next item on the agenda is a request from the DDA to close the North and South Court Square to host Market Day event on August the 1st, 2020. This will be the first of these that we've had this year, I guess. No, we actually had some, or did we have one before we shut down? All right, so this will be the first opportunity to host that this year. Request is coming from the DDA. So if there's no discussion, I'd entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. We grant the request as presented. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. The next is consider approval for additional professional services under task order number 1, preliminary engineering phase 1, scoping for the Lower Fayetteville Road operations and safety project. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second to approve the request as presented. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Thank you. The next, under unfinished business, is the consideration of an intergovernmental agreement between the 13 local governmental parties in Coweta County to conduct a series of community forums regarding race, equality, inclusion, and justice. I'm going to ask Mr. Phillips to comment briefly on this. This is the intergovernmental agreement itself. There's still the task of hiring facilitators, not only for this, but the other resolution.
For the policy review, that's correct.
So if you'll comment for just a second, that'd be great.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. Obviously, these are not the proposals for the facilitator in this particular situation, and obviously, not on the agenda tonight are the facilitators for the task force review of policy practices and procedures. We have been in the process of contacting several organizations, many of which members of council has provided names of organizations, and we're still in the process of trying to gather those proposals for your consideration. Hoping to have at least the proposals for the policy review at the next available council meeting. Still trying to develop an approach for the task force review. But in the meantime, wanted to go ahead and keep the ball rolling as was directed by council at the last meeting. And we have assembled, as you have before you here tonight, the intergovernmental agreement. Been in contact, as you can see, with 12 other governmental partners here in Coweta County that are interested in being part of this town hall community forums sessions. In the intergovernmental agreement, you will see that we have a general scope identified. You'll see that we have roles that have been established, with the City of Newnan taking the lead in the particular process. And you will also see a cost share that is broken down with obviously some of the smaller communities and some of the subsidiaries of Coweta County we're recommending that they not take on any particular cost share. So have the intergovernmental agreement in front of you tonight. Once you consider it, and if it's adopted tonight, I have been given a word from the other agencies and organizations that they will be following up and putting on their agendas and seeking signatures themselves. And I will continue, along with Mr. Craver, to solicit proposals for your consideration at a meeting, hopefully in August.
Thank you.
Is there a
And I'd
motion?
like to make a motion to approve if you're accepting those right now.
Second?
Okay, I have a motion and a second to approve the intergovernmental agreement as presented. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Okay, under visitors tonight, we have two items. The first is a request from First Baptist Church to close Madison Street during their mobile food pantry, July the 24th, from 7 a.m. until 12 p.m. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Motion is second. We grant the request as presented. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. The next is a request to close LaGrange Street between Reese Street and Powell Road, or Powell Street, on October the 3rd from 4:45 p.m. until 6:30 p.m. This motion is before you. I think the individuals who are here this evening, I do have a couple of questions, so if one of you will come up and state your name for the record if the...
Also have maps for you guys if y'all would like to have one.
Okay, I think we had a map in our agenda.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Does your map change from that map?
Should be the same.
Okay,
No, sure did not.
okay.
Hey, everybody, I'm Luke Paul. This is my fiance, Paige DeWeese. We live at 81 LaGrange Street. Want to start by thanking you guys for having us and for your time. We'll keep it very brief and answer any questions you have for us. So yeah, we came tonight to request closing 81 LaGrange in between Reese and Powell for our wedding ceremony. We actually changed the times. It's a little less time we're requesting. It's actually 5:15 p.m. to 6 p.m. On October 3rd. And that's just to decrease road noise, just not have any distractions during our wedding ceremony. Obviously, we don't want to inconvenience anyone, and our neighbors are, free to come and go. We also asked all of our neighbors if they would like to come to the ceremony and let them know what we're doing as well. Excuse me. We didn't speak to plan on Goodyear Tire and Bigfoot Cycle down the street. Goodyear also closes at 5 p.m. and Bigfoot closes at 5:30. So we're really limiting 15 minutes to their business hours that evening. We're willing to compensate any police staff that would be out there for us that evening for their time as well. And we also have a deputy that's going to be on staff that night at our wedding reception. So hopefully I was thorough there, but any questions, please.
You actually answered the questions I had during your presentation, so thank you. Does anyone else have any other questions?
So is it going to be 5:15 to 6 p.m. or 4:45 to 6:30?
It's at 5:15 to 6 p.m.
Okay.
wedding ceremony.
Short,
Yes,
you
sir.
shorten the time frame
Yeah.
considerably.
Okay.
We can't, you'll need to, it won't pick you up, sorry.
When I put the request in, we didn't have a ceremony time yet, so that's the only reason it changed.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
So moved.
Let's make a motion.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to approve the request as amended, as presented this evening. Any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Thank you for your time.
Ladies and gentlemen, that ends our regular session for the evening. We do have a need for an executive session for real estate, and I'm going to ask Mayor Pro Tem Alexander to take us into executive session with a motion.
I move that we now enter into closed session as allowed by OCGA 50-14-4 and pursuant to advice by the city attorney for the purpose of discussing real estate, and that we, in open session, adopt a resolution authorizing and directing the mayor or presiding officer to execute an affidavit in compliance with OCGA 50-14-4. And that this body ratify the action of the council taken in closed session and confirm that the subject matters of the closed session were within exception sessions permitted by the open meetings law.
Second.
Motion and a second, we move into executive session for real estate. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, we're in executive session.